Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's your IELTS high score that's achieving those high skies that it has to. I thought we'd begin with a joke. The 19th exam is almost upon us. So without further ado, let's look at the prediction video. So let's start with the speaking section first. We will look at 10 cue cards that you could potentially expect in the exam. Prep these and you should be good to go. So the first one is talk about a time when you received some incorrect information. Some key points here. Well, it's been asked quite a few times in the exam. Second thing, when you talk about this, talk about your frustrations, because that's how we feel when they give us incorrect information, right? Frustration, that's what we feel. So talk about your frustrations, talk about who gave you the wrong information, what happened after the wrong information. Maybe you lost your, some object that you might have liked because of the wrong information. I don't know, whatever it could be. Talk about it. Talk about the story behind it, right? So that's the first cue card that I want you to focus on. Next, describe something special that you would like to buy in the future. Now, this is an exciting one. I'm pretty sure you must want some stuff that you want to buy in the future. Hey, maybe it could be Apple, iPhone 14 Pro, Ultra, whatever that is. I don't keep up with Macs, whatever. So, talk about that. Talk about what that thing is, why you like it, and why do you want to buy in the future. Also talk about what it would do for you if you buy it. If it's an iPhone, maybe it's, hey, you know what? You'll be happy with it. And that's something you can use moving ahead. Or maybe you could use the iPhone to make videos and, pursue your career in photography or something like that. Just talk about something like that, right? So, there. Third, talk about a time when you complained about an issue and it was successfully resolved. This is repeated quite a few times. So, practice on this one. Because first you want to talk about the complaint, right? What the complaint was. And then you also want to talk about how it was resolved and who helped you resolve it. So give the entire story. Take them through one box at a time, kind of have a little bit of a plot and then move into the second plot and then come to a conclusion of how they helped you do that. So there's something, a little bit of a story that you can make there. So do that. Next, so describe an unusual meal that you had. Unusual. So unusual could be something that you really enjoyed or you hated. Could be anything, right? Maybe talk about the first time you tried sushi. Man, the first time I tried sushi, I almost threw up because I didn't like the texture of it. But then eventually over time, I liked it. It's nice. So, talk about the story of this meal that you had. Talk about who did you have this meal with? Who was there? Maybe you were alone? Or you can also talk about where it was. You can talk about, did you travel to go eat at this place, that whatever meal you had? Talk about that. Or you could talk about some other instances revolving around the meal. I don't know what those are. Figure those out and put them in the answer. It'll make for a good answer. Now let's go forward. Describe a daily routine in your life. Hey, this is pretty easy, pretty simple. It could be as easy as you preparing for IELTS. It could be, hey, waking up at 8 a.m. Well, I hope not 8 a.m., more like 5 a.m. because that's what I did. And then, it could be about your prayers and whatnot, spending some time for yourself, and then you could be spending some time on, IELTS speaking, if that's what you like to do early in the morning. I don't know. I don't like to speak that early in the morning. I like reading a lot better, so it could be whatever you like. After that, maybe it could be you going to your, IELTS Institute. You spend 8 to 5 p.m. there, talk about what you do there, talk about your schedule there, and then it could be you coming back home around 6 p.m., then it could be your dinner, then it could be spending some time with family, and then you're going to sleep. There you go. I just gave you an entire answer on this, just made it up. It's as easy as that. So make that answer up. What you want to do is just follow a process. Take them through a story. See how easy this is? That's what you want to do. Make an easy answer. and you'll be able to answer really well. I promise you. Okay, let's go forward. Describe a movie you saw that you found disappointing. Well, disappointing movies, right? Honestly, anything that I watch from Hollywood is disappointing. That's just me though. For you, it could be, I don't know, whatever really. So, talk about the movie that you found disappointing. Nothing worse than a bad movie, I swear. Talk about why it was disappointing. It could be the acting, it could be the plot, it could be just the direction of the movie itself. Or it could be maybe, like some issues that the movie spoke about and you didn't quite like the way it was done. So it could be anything really. So, pick your point, then discuss like why you found it disappointing. You can also talk about who you went when you watched that movie, where you watched this movie, why this movie. So there you go. I'm giving you like a lot of pointers here that you can use for making up this answer. So focus on that one, okay? Let's go forward. Describe an occasion when someone gave you something you really wanted as a gift. So it could be your best friend giving you an iPhone. I'm sorry, I keep coming back to iPhones. That's the hot trend, right? iPhones. I don't know. I don't like them much. Whatever. I like Androids. They're better. So talk about the gift. Talk about what it was, right? What the gift was. And why did you like it? Why did your friend give it to you? And talk about where they gave you, right? And then you can also talk about how you felt. And then you can talk about what did you do after that? Like when they give you the gift, did you give them something back? Maybe a hug? I don't know. That's the cheapest thing you could do. But hey, so that's something. So there you go. I give you a few pointers on this. So just make your answers like that, right? It's all about telling a story. So make one. Now let's go forward. Talk about an expensive gift you would like to give to someone. See how this one kind of ties in nicely with the one previously? So here you have to talk about an expensive gift that you want to give to someone else. It could be your friend, the same friend who gave you an iPhone. So it could be that. Like, talk about why you want to give this your friend an iPhone. Talk about how you would like to do it. Maybe do you have the money for that to buy this iPhone? If you don't, how will you earn the money? See, I'm making things up as we go. That's how you gotta do, you gotta do with your answers. Make stuff up along the way and then tell a story. See, just some basic points you wanna hit on and then go along the way nicely. That's how you work on these answers. Now let's move forward. Describe an outdoor activity that you took part in. Now, this is an easy one. It could be you playing football. It could be maybe you went for a hike. Or maybe it was you went for a run. Or maybe you went swimming in the lake. I don't know. Whatever you really want to do, talk about it, right? It could be any of these. Talk about where you did it. That's important. Why you did it. With whom you did it. So just, like some things you can talk about here. Just giving you pointers to make up that story. So just take it along a timeline, right? Start from point A, then go to point B, and then find the conclusion with the point C. That's how you give your answers. Make a story. Let's go forward. Talk about a place you have been to where the air wasn't clean. It could be anywhere in the world right now, practically. So talk about that. Some good things are gonna really hit upon, emphasize on is your vocabulary regarding environment. So this is something called topic specific vocabulary, and that's something you want to learn before you kind of go into the exam. So focus on that, hit those words, and make sure you tell a story. Take them on a journey. It's easier to do as well as easier for one to follow. Alright, so that was it for speaking. Now let's talk about writing task 2. I'm gonna give you 5 essays that you want to focus on before you kind of go into this exam. Okay, so let's start with the first one. If people could choose between working and not working, they would choose not to work. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Give reasons for your answer. Include any relevant examples for your own knowledge or experience. Man, I'm telling you, if I have that choice, I am not working. I swear to God. I'd rather be making these videos for you. I guess that's working as well. I guess I'll be working. So, hey, you know what? Let's coming back to the point here. So you have to hit on 4 points. First, you have to talk about the degree of, to which you agree or disagree. Talk about that. Then you have to give your answer and include any relevant examples as well as any knowledge, right? So 2 point of views and then examples as well as reasons. 4 things that you have to hit on. Make sure you hit on these, right? And when you're focusing on this, something really important is have your introduction, BP1, BP2 conclusion. Have at least 4 paragraphs. Even if you're running out of time, just scribble something, make a conclusion. That is important. Do it. Okay? Let's move on to the next one. So, some people think that the main goal of schools should be making children into responsible citizens and good workers, rather than benefiting them as individuals. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples. Again, 4 things. There are 2 perspectives that you have to speak about or write about, and then you have to give your examples as well as reasons behind like why you think that makes sense. So again, something to kind of like focus on here. Make sure you practice on this one. Have at least 250 words. Anything less than that, you start losing points. So go more than 250 words, okay? And write clearly. It should be legible. Unlike my handwriting here, which is not very legible. So write clearly, okay? Now, next one. Nowadays, people all over the world are spending more and more time apart from their families. Why is this happening? How does this affect people and their families? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. This is an interesting question. I can speak to it actually. The biggest reason I think why people are spending more time apart from their families, it's moving to different countries. It's immigration, I would say. Because, once you move to Canada, there will be very little time for you to see your family back home. They can come visit you like once or twice in a year, or like maybe like every 2 years or so, but you won't have that much time with your family. And that's the true reality of things. So, there you go. I gave you the gist of the answer. Work on that. Start with that. And you can find some more reasons on it. You can talk about your experiences. You can talk about some friends, family that who's in Canada or UK or Australia, and how they're not spending time with their families. So there you go. Work on that. Now, next one. Many university students nowadays live away from home and their parents because of their university location, while others live with their families. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each situation? Give reasons and examples from your own knowledge experience. Again, 4 things, right? So, advantages. First of all, they don't have to pay rent. That's the biggest advantage when you live with your parents. Second, your expenses for food and everything else, they go down, right? Third, you have someone who can guide you, right? Fourth, you can have someone with experience that can actually help you out, connect with more people. So when you live with your parents, you have more connections. That's just what it is. Some disadvantages could be that if they're living with their parents and they're not living away, they miss out on potential experiences, right? So you can talk about that. You can also talk about if they're living with their parents, maybe not a lot of their decisions are their own. So, like there's helicopter parents. Go look it up. Look up the term helicopter parents. This is an interesting one. Basically, they're the kind of parents who make all their decisions for you. And that makes things easier, like harder in life when you have to make decisions on your own. So decision making kind of goes to parents, and then, you lose your say as much. Another thing could be that, there might be a little bit of conflict when you live together all the times because, differing opinions and such. So there you go. I gave you an answer on this. And that's how easy and quick it is to actually prep your answer. So before you start writing, spend at least 5 minutes doing basically this. Write this down, what you want to talk about, okay? Once you've written that down, then start with the introduction. BP1 could be advantages, BP2 could be disadvantages, and a thesis, and then a conclusion of like what you believe is right or wrong. That's how you write this answer. There you go. Now, next question. Social media helps people to keep in touch with friends and stay on top of news and events. Do you think the advantages of social media outweigh the disadvantages? Give reasons for your answer, including relevant examples, knowledge, experience. Tricky question. First, talk about the advantages and disadvantages. They have given some advantages here, right? So we need to talk about disadvantages and mention a little bit on this. Once you have those, then you need to do a thesis, a synthesis. So you basically, see which makes more sense, disadvantages or advantages. Once you have that, then you conclude on what you feel is right. So there you go. 4 things to do again. Your advantages, disadvantages. You have to give your answer and you have to include experience and reasons. So focus on that. Okay. Now, reading is done. Let's focus on writing is done. Now let's focus on reading a little bit. Difficulty wise, I think this will be an easy exam. Question types that I want you to focus on before you go into this exam. First of all, figure multiple choice questions. Learn how to find that information. Second, true, false, not given. Learn the correct procedure of how to work through these question types. Yes, no, not given. Work through the opinions and find out if it makes sense or not, and then you can pick your answers. Fourth is matching sentence endings. This could be a little tricky for some of us. Some find it easy, so work way through it. And then fifth is note completion. So that's something that could come up as well. And finally, sentence completion. So that's 6 question types you gotta focus on for this coming exam. And again, I'm gonna touch on 4 things, the essential 4 things that you really have to focus on before you gonna go sit for the exam. Time management. You gotta make sure you manage your time with the exams, right? Passage 1, passage 2, or passage 3. Which one do you start with first? Find out the way that works best for you. Okay, skimming, scanning, and keyword selection, that is a very essential technique. So use all these 3 together to kind of find your answers. And once you've done this to find the area for, location of the answer, you have to do some careful reading as well. Focus on careful reading. Because if you don't do that, your answers will be incorrect and it will not be your flying high score that's going up. It'll be crashing and burning into the ground. So don't crash and burn. Okay. And finally, marking. Underline, circle, point, create X's or whatever, really. Just mark the paper so that you locate the information that you need easily. Okay. So that's some stuff on reading that you gotta focus on. Okay. So there you go. That's pretty much, what I have for you for this video. And hey, if you have questions, you have doubts, drop them in the comments. I'll be here to help you out through those. And, I hope you find this useful. If you have friends who have their exams upcoming, share this with them. They'll find this useful. And of course, subscribe because I will be putting out more information just like this that you will find useful. Well, good luck with your exam. Go reach those skies that you have to. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.